Hey guys, Justin Barry here and you're watching Bobby Garland TV. Before I get started for today, be sure to hit the subscribe button below because you're going to have all kinds of great content coming from all the Bobby Garland Pro staff members coming in this upcoming year. The tip I had today for y'all is casting cork and jig. It's the most simplest way to fish, but I love it. I'm 33 years old and I love casting cork and jig. Especially if you're landlocked, you have no boat, you don't like having all your rods laid out, you're just a one pole kind of guy, that maybe some of these tips can help you in the long run. Went fishing today. We went to Lake of Egypt, Illinois and casted for wintertime black crappie. I mean, you catch these fish all year round, but you guys, you can cast crappie for these. I mean, you cast cork and jig for these in the wintertime. Power Plant Lake, I love it. You do it all year long. I don't ever have to stop fishing. So the tip I have for today is the whole rod setup and the best presentation I can tell y'all that we have. The rod, I use a 7'6" rod. I don't use nothing less. That way you can get the long casted there, because all I'm casting is 1/32 jig versus a 1-inch Como pear cork, I believe. So, and the next question I get all the time is, what knot do I use? I use a surgical knot, and I'm about to show y'all how to tie that real quick and why. Let me get focused real quick. So I've already tied my line through my jig head, as so. I want to take my 2 fingers and wrap it around it, and I want to turn my jig head backwards and then run it through 3 times. You want to take that jig head and run it through that loop 3 times that you made with your 2 fingers. Once you get that third one in, you can make it however big a loop knot you want by holding your 2 fingers right here, and then you just pull it tight, and there you go. You ask me, why do I use this? Because that jig head can freely move, you guys. If you pull up on that jig, whether you're vertical jigging or twitching that cork, it's going to move freely and real fast. If that jig head goes down, the head's going to go down. It looks more natural. It's not tied. Let me get focused again here. It's not tied tight. It's moving freely. So I get that. I think that has more of a better presentation of the little twist that you can give. Line wise, and this is very, I do not use fluorocarbon. I use 6 pound monofilament line. I do not like using fluorocarbon casting cork and jig, because that fluorocarbon line sinks, right? So as I'm casting my cork and jig, I found out is every time I twitch that cork, that bobber will go under. It will go under every time I twitched it back. So I do not like using fluorocarbon just for that reason, because I couldn't tell by the time that bobber would come back up on the surface if it was a fish or not. You know, I don't like my bobber going under as I'm twitching it. I like to be on top of the water, so that's why I use monofilament. Corks, very simple, but yet really cool to understand. So you think you should use weighted corks to get out there further? Yeah, that's correct. But do you ever understand why not to use a weighted cork? I'll tell you why. What happens if you ever seen a cork if it just goes on its side as you're fishing? Guys, you got a fish on, set the hook. Because I mean, if you use weighted corks, you're not going to get that. Let me get focused again here. If you use weighted corks, you're not going to get that reaction. It's just going to stay there as that bait's already getting inhaled by the crappie. It's just going to stay there. So, you know, if it goes on its side, you'll know. So that's a very good key indicator of why I use non-weighted corks. It's simply because I can tell when that cork goes on its side. So there's a good tip for that. Another great tip I have for y'all is I use a lot, and number one selling bait in Bobby Garland is the baby shad, right? I use the Pink Phantom Glow. It's one of my all-time favorites. I use it all the time. But you don't realize is that you have 2 baits in one right here. That's right. Let me show you how. If you're fishing, you know them fish are finicky. If you don't have an itty bitty, or you need a downsize, you don't have nothing else in your tackle box, guys, let me show you. Bite that tail off. That's right. Bite that tail off. Bite that tail off and you already got a smaller presentation of bait here. As you can see, just let me get it on there real quick. And there you go. You have a smaller presentation of a smaller bait right there, and you don't even know it. So hope that helps y'all a lot. I mean, it's just cork and jig, but I mean, a lot of crappie anglers are or landlocked. You don't have access to a boat. You're always fishing your favorite banks. Other than that, guys, good fishing. See y'all later.